G'day. About 3 or 4 months ago, I decided to post a different photo each day of somebody I've shot in the F1 paddock. It wasn't going to be a driver. It was going to be somebody on the periphery of the sport. And today I'm going to run through my top 20 characters of the paddock. I've posted 100 characters of the paddock posts over the last few months, and today I'm going to run through the top 20. Now, when I say the top 20, these are judged by the number of likes. It's a very shallow thing, I know, but physically, if somebody presses a like button, it's a sign that that post has had some sort of impact. So I've based it on the number of likes per post. And at number 20, I've kicked off with Carlos Sainz's manager, Carlos Onero, who's also Carlos's older cousin. I asked Carlos what he does exactly, and he responded,
"Except driving the car, pretty much everything related to a Formula One driver's life."
He handles all of Carlos's contracts, including F1 teams and sponsors. He does media management, logistics, along with the financial, legal and fiscal side. Apart from that, he plays a support role, travels to every race with Carlos, and they obviously spend a lot of downtime together. And if you've ever seen the Drive to Survive series on Netflix, you've probably spotted him lurking around the back of the garage. He is very prominent. That's number 20. Next up, Dieter Renken, who hails from South Africa. He's been an F1 journo for 20 plus years. He's attended more than 300 races. If you've ever watched an F1 press conference, you probably heard him asking questions, if you haven't seen him. And he doesn't shy away from asking hard questions. He'll often press the interviewee if not happy with their responses. In fact, he is really quite dogged and well-versed when it comes to motorsport. I assume that you watch F1 on TV, and as such, you've probably spotted the cool and calm Tom Wood on TV in Parc Fermé. He's number 18. In Parc Fermé, he greets the drivers after quali and the race. He's also in charge of the F1 press conferences in his role as F1 media delegate. Tom's from Britain, and he stepped up from Formula E to F1 at the start of last year. At number 17, this is Sjokz, the host of the eSports League of Legends European Championship. Belgian by birth, but lives in Germany, which is where I shot her last year at Hockenheim. Now, I had no idea who she was until one of my marketing crew, Adrian, told me he'd spotted the picture at ProStarPics.com. He recognised her instantly because he plays that game. If you're in business and you'd like to sharpen up your crew's skills, head to Canity.com, the world's best online staff training platform. Hundreds of short, sharp training videos covering everything from handling angry customers to staying safe under COVID-19. Canity.com. At number 16, this is Michelle Crichton, a composites engineer with Racing Point. She has some very colourful hair, and she's one of very few women actually working in the garage on the car at F1. And she was a surprise hit when I posted her pic on Instagram earlier this year. This is Racing Point's trackside marketing manager, Victoria Helyar. She loves working, travelling, eating, laughing, an occasional drink, music, and dancing. She's also engaged to F1 presenter reporter Will Buxton. I wonder if Will will appear in this list. At number 14, the second FIA media delegate in the list, Matteo Bonciani. Now, Matteo actually left the sport at the end of 2018, and Tom, who mentioned earlier, took over from him. Now, Matteo's a larger-than-life Italian character who was highly visible on the TV broadcasts, particularly at Parc Fermé, where he popped up every single week. He'd also umpire the drivers' press conferences from the stage area, as you can see here, and I think it's fair to say that everyone in F1 knows Matteo. He's still fondly remembered, particularly for his enthusiastic Italian hugs and kisses. And remember, you can become a member of my YouTube channel and get a whole range of extras, including special emotes and even wallpapers every single month. At number 13, Arthur Leclerc, Charles' younger brother. He was recently accepted into the Ferrari Driver Academy and last year competed in the ADAC Formula 4 Championship and was part of the Sauber Junior program. He finished third overall with 1 race win and 8 podiums. Great kid and hopeful of great things in this ultra-competitive sport. Vladimir Putin's in at number 12, despite him being number 1 in Russia. I caught him giving me the death stare at the 2017 Russian GP, just prior to him presenting the top 3 with their race trophies. He only stays a short time at the track, gets there just before he has to present, and leaves pretty much straight after. But great world exposure for the number 1 man in Russia. At number 11, Nigel Hope. He's a giant of the paddock in more ways than one. He's Red Bull's garage manager, heralds from the UK. He's married with a daughter and sports an impressive collection of tattoos. Got a lot of time for Nigel. He's always been very supportive of what I do, and there's every chance you've seen him on TV broadcasts at some point. If you're Italian, you'll probably know my 10th most popular paddock character, Federica Masolin, Sky Italia's F1 host. For those of you who don't watch Sky Italia, Federica is a paddock star. Her knowledge of the sport is impressive, and come race day in non-COVID times, she's dressed impressively. Oh, and she has over 1/3 followers on Instagram, which is quite a following. Number 9, have a look at this. He's here. Brit Will Buxton. He's the face and voice behind much of F1's video coverage and had quite a presence on the first 2 series of Drive to Survive. Unfortunately for Will, though, he tested positive for coronavirus a few days prior to this year's Russian GP and had to miss the race. At number 8, Linda Morselli, Italian model, TV personality, influencer, and Fernando Alonso's partner. Next up, our youngest character of the paddock, by a mile, Robin Raikkonen, aspiring F1 driver who attends a couple of races a year. His father Kimi's pretty handy behind the wheel, and there's a fair chance some of that skill will be handed down to young Robin. And when Robin's in the paddock, so is mum, Mintu. Keep an eye out for him in 13 or so years when he could end up being on the F1 grid. At number 6, Ferrari's sporting director, Laurent Mekies. He's 42 years of age, has a degree in mechanical engineering, having studied in both Paris and London. Got his first taste of F1 with the Arrows team in 2001, went to Minardi as a race engineer and stayed in Faenza for the following 12 years. And when the team changed to Scuderia Toro Rosso in 2006, he was appointed chief engineer. He left Toro Rosso to join the FIA in 2014 as safety director, and in 2017, he was appointed F1 deputy race director, working alongside this man, Charlie Whiting. In 2018, he took up the role with Ferrari. At number 5, another Red Bull mechanic, this time Calum Nicholas. Now, he surprised me. I've only got a couple of photos of Calum, and I just took a punt and put him up one day as a character of the paddock, and boy, oh boy, I didn't expect this sort of response. He's a keen golfer with a distinctive hairstyle and a young daughter, and a partner who used to work at Force India. At the track, this Brit is a power unit technician who works on both Max's and Alex's car in the garage. You'll also spot him on TV during pit stops, where he's the left front wheel off man and reserve wheel gunman. 4 to go. Jamie Chadwick is up next, a 22-year-old British racing driver in the Formula Regional Championship and the W Series. She won the first W Series championship last year and joined the Williams Driver Academy as a development driver in the same year. At number 3, it's Mia Djacic. She's Charles's press officer, has been with him for all but a handful of races since he started with Sauber in 2018. When Charles moved to Ferrari last year, he had a different press officer for the start of the season, but Mia was transferred to Ferrari after a few races. She's been working from the Ferrari headquarters, though, for most of this year due to limitations on numbers at the track. But rest assured, she's still working closely with the young Ferrari driver. So now we're down to 2 for the most popular character of the paddock. It won't be Sarah Lacy Smith because she's the second most popular. Sarah studied automotive engineering and in 2014 landed a graduate planner buyer role at McLaren. 3 years later, she was promoted to trackside spares and lifing coordinator, which sees her in and around the garage at the track. At post-season testing last year in Abu Dhabi, I caught her on the pit wall doing the pit board for Lando Norris. And I think I'm correct in saying she's the only female in this F1 role. So, who's my number 1 character of the paddock? It's Billy Monger, the 21-year-old British racing driver who raced in British F4 in 2016 and 2017. In April 2017, though, he was critically injured in a collision at Donington Park, and both of his legs were needed to be amputated, one below the knee and one above. But that didn't stop him returning to racing. Last year, I found him at a number of races where he provided commentary for Channel 4's coverage. He was my runaway winner, a likeable fella, and glad to see that so many people got behind him. If you've enjoyed this video, there's lots more to go through on my site. And please hit the like button if you have enjoyed it, and the subscribe button if you haven't done so, and the bell button if you'd like to be notified of new videos. All of my images can be found at prostarpics.com. You can order my F1 driver photo books, along with canvas prints at kimellman.com. And for my best images every day on Instagram, head to @KimEllman. Thanks for watching, and stay passionate.
Carlos Oñoro.
Carlos
Oñoro.
Carlos Oñoro. Carlos Oñoro. Carlos Oñoro.
Carlos.
I got it.